has died. She is now charged with vehicular homicide and hit and run. Good evening. Good to be back with you tonight. I'm Sean Owsley. That is our lead story. That crash happened Saturday afternoon near West Indiana and North Atlantic, not too far off Division in Spokane. A witness telling police they held down that suspect, now identified as 37-year-old Kiana Cox, as she was trying to get away. That witness believes she blew through a stop sign. They say they heard the impact of the crash and then saw flames near the motorcycle. Today, Cox appeared in court for arraignment hearing. According to court documents, she told police she was at a barber shop down the road and made a U-turn because she forgot something. She says she made a complete stop, but a motorcycle hit her at a fast speed. Officers ultimately determined Cox had alcohol in her system at the time.
Count 1, vehicular homicide. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Count 2, failure to remain at the scene of an accident with a fatality. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Count 3, second-degree driving while license suspended or revoked. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
The motorcyclist was transported to the hospital after the crash, died Tuesday afternoon, which led to Cox's charges being upgraded. She's now back in jail, being held on $250,000. Trial is now scheduled tentatively for June 15th.
Military right now is making some headlines as officials are saying they are developing a new plan to target Iran's capabilities in the Strait of Hormuz, but only in the event that the current ceasefire with Iran falls apart. That's according to multiple sources right now familiar with the matter. The new plan calls for much more concentrated bombings, this specifically around strategic waterways.
Morgan Ashley, bringing you the content that connects our communities. You're watching NonStop Local Pulse Prime. This is breaking news.
We are tracking multiple breaking stories tonight on Pulse Prime. Good evening, I'm Morgan Ashley. One of 2 CIA agents killed in Mexico while returning from a narcotics operation grew up in Spokane. 43-year-old John Black, a Gonzaga Prep graduate, was traveling through the mountains to the state capital in Chihuahua when he were hit by some rough terrain. The pair dropped off of the cliff and fell about 600 feet to the ground. Their car burst into flames. Black was born in California and then graduated from G Prep in 2001 and then Gonzaga University. The CIA has declined to comment on the matter. More breaking news, this out of Latah County. Latah County Sheriff's deputies say they are actively working a scene in Julietta right now, and they're asking people to avoid the area while they work. They say the scene is secure, but the details are limited at this point. As soon as we do know more, you will learn it here. A Rivers Edge High School student is recovering tonight after they injured their arm walking to school. In fact, they were struck by a school bus. This happened near Van Giesen Street and Jadwin Avenue. This is in Richland. The bus driver did stop and checked on the student before leaving. The student's okay and did not need medical attention, but police are still investigating. Well, new information tonight is police say the motorcyclist struck by a car over the weekend has died. The woman accused of hitting him is charged with vehicular homicide as well as hit and run. This happened Saturday afternoon near West Indiana Avenue and North Atlantic Street. This is in Spokane. A witness told police they held down the suspect, 37-year-old Kiana Cox, as she tried to get away. Witnesses believe that Cox blew through a stop sign as they heard the impact of the crash and saw flames near the motorcycle involved. Cox appeared in court for her arraignment today. Court documents say she told police she was at a barber shop and made a U-turn because she forgot something. She claims she made a complete stop and says that the motorcycle hit her. Officers ultimately found she had alcohol in her system at the time of the crash.
Count 1, vehicular homicide. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Count 2, failure to remain at the scene of an accident with a fatality. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Count 3, second-degree driving while license suspended or revoked. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
So the motorcyclist was taken to the hospital after the crash, but then died Tuesday afternoon. Cox is back in jail now, held on a $250,000 bond, and her trial is set for June 15th. Well, here's a look over downtown Spokane tonight. Breezy conditions today, but things look to be clearing up as we head into the weekend. Good timing, right? Leslie Lowe has a check at the current conditions.
Daytime highs today topping out just a couple of degrees below our average for this time of the year. Average 59. We saw a high today of 57. Overnight lows last night 40 degrees, so a little bit above our averages. Now that temperature is going to fall as we head overnight tonight. Sunset tonight was at 7:51. It has been gusty throughout the last 24 to 36 hours. Our strongest wind gust about 40 miles per hour here in Spokane, and then back into central Washington we've seen some wind gusts 45-50 miles per hour with wind advisories finally canceling tonight for Ketchikan County at 9 p.m. On our satellite radar, we did pick up a few showers earlier on. We're on the back edge of this system as it continues to slide to the east of us. So the bulk of this band now working its way through northeast parts of Oregon, over towards north central Idaho, and over towards western Montana. This is where we still have some winter weather advisories to talk about. It's going to be chilly tonight. We've got frost advisories for Garfield and Asotin counties. When I see you back here in just a few minutes, we'll get you into the weekend.
Well, to a big story now as advocacy groups and members of the LGBTQ community in Wenatchee showed up to City Council tonight, frustrated over a change to the city's banner application process. NonStop Local's Kevin Teeter was at that meeting and brings us more on the change and why it's igniting discourse.
Wenatchee advocacy groups are expressing concern about a recent change in city policy, leading to the replacement of Pride Month diversity banners with banners celebrating America's Family Month. The change in the city's banner policy allows for first-come, first-served displays, and a local Turning Point USA chapter applied to fly their banners and had their application approved through the city's new application policy. Out north central Washington, Wenatchee Pride and NCW Equity Alliance issued a joint statement condemning the city's policy change. The statement reads, "We recognize that the city has cited a revised permitting process as the basis for this decision. At the same time, we believe it is important to fully understand how this process was implemented, how applications were reviewed, and whether the system as it currently exists ensures equitable access for all community groups in a truly neutral manner." At Thursday's Wenatchee City Council meeting, 3 community members also pushing back on the policy change, saying it dismisses an entire population of people in the region.
Pride Month is so important, and changing course in this radical way is received as a bold-faced dismissal of the unique needs and gifts of the marginalized community.
Wenatchee Police Chief Edgar Reinfeld told NonStop Local News Wednesday that the city received an incomplete application from NCW Equity Alliance, while the Turning Point chapter submitted a complete one. This change comes after the city of East Wenatchee blocked the display of Pride banners on light poles last month. The Turning Point chapter, a part of the ministry organization Vector College within Grace City Church in Wenatchee, did not respond to requests for comment Thursday. In Wenatchee, I'm Kevin Teeter.
Well, a 27-year-old Walla Walla man still behind bars after pleading not guilty to 5 counts of assault of a child in the first degree. As a warning, though, this information you're about to hear is disturbing. According to court documents, Dallas Fletcher Granger admitted to hitting his 3-month-old daughter on multiple occasions on April 15th. 2 Walla Walla police officers were called to Providence St. Mary's Emergency Department for a possible child abuse incident. The deputy prosecuting attorney confirmed the child had multiple serious injuries and was eventually transported by helicopter to Spokane. Officers say Granger admitted to the crimes and was arrested. However, at today's preliminary court appearance, Granger pleaded not guilty to all 5 counts. He's currently being held on a $500,000 bond. His jury trial set for June 15th. Well, this just into our newsroom. The Kittitas County Health District's reporting a potential measles outbreak in the county. This happening at Valley View Elementary School. There are 3 confirmed cases believed to have been at the elementary school while infectious between April 8th and April 15th. The best way to avoid contracting measles is to get vaccinated. Well, looking ahead to spring events, it is no secret the price of travel is on the rise, whether it's gas prices or even the price to fly. Leaders in the airline industry expect that ticket prices will increase upward of 20% for the cost of jet fuel. This comes as a new travel report from Longwoods International found nearly 90% of Americans plan to travel in the next few months. NonStop Local's Belle Lewis breaks down how this could impact you.
In a little over a week, the Bloomsday starting gun will fire. And in just over 2 months, Hoot Fest will take over the streets of Spokane. And the planes, trains, and automobiles thousands of visitors use to get to Spokane,
there is concern, yes.
well, they just cost more. Right now, Hoopfest says they're not seeing an impact in registrations.
Our registration's right on track.
In fact, some of Hoopfest's biggest years have been in hard times.
Probably one of our best years was back in 2008 when we had that recession.
So bottom line,
we don't have any concern about that whatsoever.
Hoopfest is bringing in the people. And so is the 50th anniversary of Bloomsday.
We'll be okay with our big events. They're signature pieces for Spokane.
Kate Hudson with Visit Spokane works year-round on Spokane's tourism, which includes partnering with Bloomsday and Hoopfest.
These are the perfect events.
The bigger concern is a little farther in the future.
Tourism is a big deal for Spokane County.
Say you're getting ready for a trip and you crunch the numbers and it's a bit too expensive, so you decide not to take that trip. Now that's only natural, but when mass amounts of people don't take those trips and don't come to Spokane, it can cause some serious downwind problems.
We get over $1,000 in tax relief per household, and it's thanks to visitors that we have all the restaurants that we have downtown.
Bottom line, while we might not see an impact at the race in a week, looking forward,
hopefully we can corner that regional market
and keep bringing people to Spokane. In Spokane, I'm Belle Lewis, NonStop Local.
Well, tonight was the first round of the NFL Draft, the three-day event taking place in Pittsburgh. Austin Getz joins us now, and the Seattle Seahawks fooled a lot of people with a first-round pick.
Yeah, including me.
I think most people,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, they fooled everybody by taking a pick at all. This week, the Seahawks said they would be looking to trade the final pick in the first round, but that was either a smokescreen because they couldn't find a trade partner, or they couldn't find a trade partner, I should say, because when number 32 was called, it was the Seahawks making the selection. And that pick is Notre Dame running back Jadarian Price, splitting time for the Fighting Irish with third overall pick tonight, Jeremiah Love. Price rushed for just under 700 yards last season with 11 rushing touchdowns and an average of 6 yards per carry. With Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker III, now a Kansas City Chief, and Zach Charbonnet expected to miss some time next season recovering from a knee injury, Price could be seeing a lot of the field early on in the season. With him now a Seahawk, Seattle looks ahead to tomorrow for rounds 2 and 3. They've got the final pick in each of those two rounds, 64 and 96 respectively. And looking ahead to Saturday, they don't have a 4th or 5th round pick. They traded those to New Orleans for Rashid Shaheed. They do have a 6th round pick, one they acquired from the Cleveland Browns in a trade for center Nick Harris, but they do not have a 7th round pick due to that very same trade. And it is still possible they trade one of their 3 picks remaining if they want to make more selections. So NFL draft, you never know what to expect, Morgan, but you always know that at the end of the day, you're going to have a new group of Seahawks, new guys for fans to get to know, and I know that there's a lot of 12s right now. Type it into YouTube, Jadarian Price highlights to find their new running back.
We're not in the strategy room, just further proof, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right, still to come here tonight on Pulse Prime, communities along the Florida-Georgia state line are supporting one another as an unpredictable natural disaster claims land. What's driving a massive wildfire in your national headlines? Plus a breezy day across the inland northwest, but it looks like things are really starting to warm up. So Leslie's back with your full forecast in just a bit.
Content connecting community. You're watching The Pulse.
I'm Bradley Warren, and this is The Pulse. We start right now with this. A 22-year-old Washington man has been arrested in Prosser, facing multiple child sex charges. Police say O'Neill Paragua appeared in court for his probable cause hearing this afternoon in Benton County. He's charged with third-degree rape of a child, commercial sex abuse of a child, and communicating with a child for immoral purposes. The investigation started back on the 13th of April after getting reports of criminal conduct. He's held right now on a $150,000 bond and will be back in court on the 28th of April. We're going to monitor this for you. Tonight, we're also learning that 2 motorcycle riders have been booked into the Spokane County Jail on felony and misdemeanor charges. Police say they were driving recklessly in a large group along Sprague Avenue near Park Road. The group split off and the officer pursued the 2 riders who failed to pull over, and when they tried to turn, they crashed into each other. According to the Washington Traffic Safety Commission, motorcycle fatalities continue to decline as of last year, but there are still safety risks that continue, including reckless driving as we head into what's known as the 100 deadliest days of summer. Over the last 5 years, motorcyclists accounted for 3% of all crashes, but more than 16% of roadway fatalities. Between 2024 and 2025, motorcycle fatalities decreased by 8%. Thanks for being with us. I'm Bradley Warren. We're back in a minute.
Across America tonight, at least 1 person is dead, 5 injured following a mass shooting in a Louisiana mall in Baton Rouge. So police say the shooting happened after a fight started in the food court. There's no longer a threat to the public as 5 people were arrested in connection to this shooting. Other people were injured, according to police, but they were not shot. Officers are still looking for potential suspects involved. Most of those connected appear to be teenagers.
This is what response time is supposed to look like. These are champions, and lives were actually saved from this. But as the chief said, 5 are in custody. And I'll repeat myself again. If you're going to act like this in Baton Rouge and you're going to do these things, you're going to be caught.
This is the second fatal mass shooting to happen in the state of Louisiana this week, following an incident in Shreveport over the weekend where a father killed 7 of his children, a nephew, and wounded their mothers. A wildfire along the Florida-Georgia line in Brantley counties is forcing evacuations, destroying homes and structures during its rapid spread. The community is coming together to support those impacted. The fire has now burned more than 5,000 acres and claimed 90 homes. Georgia's governors declared a state of emergency, telling people around the area to be prepared as the fire is unpredictable.
My mom was kind of having a hard time with not leaving because that's all she's worked for her entire life. So we didn't evacuate last night, and then probably, I think, 1 o'clock, they said it was on our dirt road, in the back of our dirt road. So we just started grabbing everything.
Those not directly impacted by the fire are handing out free meals at a city hall to make sure that their neighbors don't go hungry. The strong winds are driving these flames further and further.
It is going to be frosty overnight tonight. In fact, we do have those frost advisories for Spokane County as well as Garfield County. Those will be in place until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Overnight lows dipping down into the low to mid 30s for eastern Washington and over towards north and central Idaho. Just slightly warmer over into central Washington, mid to upper 30s and low 40s. As far as winds, we're still seeing some gusty conditions as we get you into the evening hours. Those winds are set to come down overnight tonight. You can see the back edge of this system again pushing in some shower activity and some snow in the higher elevations to the east of us. Now all of this set to drop to the south into the east. All right, here again a look at those overnight lows. Low into the 30s for the Palouse, 36 for both Lewiston and Orofino, and mid to upper 30s and 40s into central Washington. So that tops off the low down. Tomorrow morning it's going to be frosty. Expect to spend a little extra time scraping the windshields and warming up the car. But by tomorrow afternoon, we've got sunshine. What a perfect way to wrap up the work week and head into the weekend. And the weekend really does look quiet. Temperatures are just not going to be the 70s that we saw this last weekend. This weekend we're going to hold right there in the mid to upper 50s, so closer to our averages. So again, wind speeds coming down as we head overnight tonight. So much quieter conditions as we kick off our day on Friday. We do still have that snow that will linger through Friday morning. That's why we've got those winter weather advisories that will be in place for parts of north central Idaho, just out of Grangeville over towards Montana. And now these advisories are above 4,000 feet. But travelers, be prepared for winter type travel, because even though we're in the month of April, we're not quite out of it yet. And we are seeing that very active, very unsettled weather continue. You can see that here in our future cast as that band continues to push again south and eastward over towards Montana. This is Friday morning. We're quiet. You can still see though we've got snowfall in the higher terrain there over to the east of us. So that takes place throughout our day on Friday. I would anticipate a little bit of light activity right there along the Idaho-Montana state line, and then maybe a few lingering showers as we get you into the weekend for the Panhandle and Montana. Otherwise, temperatures mid-50s tomorrow in Spokane, low 50s in Coeur d'Alene. The northern mountains tomorrow in the low end of the 60s around Omak. We'll be in the upper 50s around Colville and Chewelah, Bonners Ferry and Sandpoint, sitting right there in the low end of the 50s. For central Washington, Cascade Valleys tomorrow, 62 in Chelan, 60-degree temperatures in Wenatchee and Moses Lake in the mid to upper 50s from Davenport down through Ritzville into Othello. And then Montana tomorrow, 45 in Kalispell. So we're on the chilly side there, upper 50s around Lewiston.
Live from the Northern Quest Sports Studio. This is SWX NonStop Local Sports.
The Washington State Cougars will close out their spring football camp on Saturday with the annual Crimson and Gray game. Then it's a long break until the fall. 14 practices down and 1 to go. The Cougs trying to get some new schemes installed on both sides of the ball. But for the offense, it's been a work in progress with a new quarterback and a whole new way of trying to move the ball downfield. Senior tight end Hudson Cedarland says it's going to take some time.
I would say that we still got a long ways to go, obviously. We got a lot of things as an offense that we got to improve on, and I think that we're taking steps in the right direction. But, as far as chemistry and stuff like that, quarterbacks, great guys, love working with them every single day, and running backs, great guys. I think we all have great relationships with one another, and that just makes showing up to work every day even better.
Again, spring camp comes to its conclusion Saturday at 2 o'clock at Giesa Field, the Crimson and Gray game, and fans are welcome to attend if you're looking for weekend plans. Seattle Mariners had the day off today after playing 13 days straight, a stretch that saw them have some highs and lows and ultimately left the team right about where they started when that 13-day stretch began. M's are trying to shake off a slow start and are 4 games under 500 about a month into the season. The good news is the Bats seem to be starting to wake up and no one is running away with the division yet. Again, it's early, but it's not going to be that way forever. First of 3 games of this road trip coming in St. Louis for the Mariners, followed by 3 more in Minnesota. First pitch tomorrow night at 5:15 at Busch Stadium. Little GSL softball for you. Meade Panthers taking on Mount Spokane Wildcats. First inning, Addie J. 2 runners on. That's crushed to center field. It sails way over the fence, and the Wildcats are quickly up 3-0. In the second inning, a ground ball to Emma Bond. She'll make the throw for 1, and Jay throws back to third for an unorthodox but very nice double play. Then here it's Quincy Schurman at the dish. Hits one up the middle with the bases loaded. That will bring in Bond from third for another run, but Meade did have a rally in them. J.C. Caulfield, base knock, and a miscue out there will allow Avian Dobbs to score, but the Wildcats do win this one 15-5. We're back next with more here on the Pulse Prime.
Well, sharing the good tonight, students in Liberty Lake are raising money and donating supplies to Spokane's Vanessa Behan Crisis Nursery. Today, they delivered the cash and supplies. Students at Liberty Launch, a K-12 school in Liberty Lake, spent the last several weeks taking turns jumping rope, turning each jump into real help for kids in crisis. Through the elementary jump-a-thon, they raised $5,900 for the Crisis Nursery so it can provide a safe, round-the-clock haven for kids facing family emergencies. It doesn't stop there. Classes have been taking field trips to personally shop for items on the center's wish list.
We buy like a bunch of fun stuff. We buy like buckets, shoes, water shoes, a bunch of diapers, a bunch of things that help kids in need.
So diapers, wipes, formula, pajamas, toys, and other essentials. The kids picked the items themselves and loaded the carts. Today, they dropped off their donations, seeing the place where their efforts will in fact make a big difference. And good for all of them for doing so. That's a huge ask, and what a great amount of money that they came up with. All right, that does it for this edition of Pulse Prime. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.